City University of Hong Kong is an international university which emphasizes the integration of research and teaching. The university promotes diversified, cross-cultural studies through various educational programs. To promote our educational vision, City University of Hong Kong produced a series called Beyond Boundaries, Dialogue with Presidents of World's Leading Educational Institutions. Professor Wei Guo, President of City University of Hong Kong, talks to presidents of universities and principals of high schools around the world, exploring each other's strengths and looking forward to the future direction of educational development. In the Museum of École Polytechnique hangs a portrait of Napoleon I, testament to his connection with the school. During his reign, Napoleon conferred a military status to the school and gave it the motto in 1804, "For the nation, sciences, and glory." At the National Day Military Parade every year on the 14th of July in France, students of the Ingénieur Polytechnicien program wear their grand uniform and carry swords. They walk at the front of the parade in a clear display of the school's important status in French history and education. For more than 200 years, École Polytechnique, as the country's top engineering institution, has educated numerous students who later became leaders in France and abroad. Among its alumni are 3 Nobel laureates, 3 French presidents, and an important number of the CEOs of French corporations. For this reason, École Polytechnique is considered a top higher education institution, training France's future leaders. In the 21st century, under the influence of globalization and the American model, higher education in France has also shifted from a model of professional colleges with a traditional fine division of labor to one with large-scale, multidisciplinary institutions. In 2019, École Polytechnique founded together with 4 other institutions: Télécom Paris, Télécom Sud Paris, the National School of Advanced Technology, and the National School of Statistics and Economic Management, Institut Polytechnique de Paris. The 5 founding institutions have been well known in their respective fields of expertise. The 5 institutions, which form Institut Polytechnique de Paris, keep their names. The institute encompasses 30 laboratories dedicated to different research areas, including the environment and climate, artificial intelligence and data science, mathematics and digital simulation, cybersecurity, robotics, and bioengineering. Today, we are honored to invite President Éric Labbé to share with us his experience and visions of leading École Polytechnique and the integrated and recently founded Institut Polytechnique de Paris. Professor Wei Guo, President of City University of Hong Kong, is well known for his research on the reliability of electronic systems and nuclear energy. In his early years, he worked at Bell Laboratories in the United States, who held the position of department head and dean of the School of Engineering in an American university, and was conferred academicians in various countries. Professor Wei Guo has served as the president of CityU for more than 10 years. His philosophy of education is summarized in the lyrics of the CityU anthem, which he wrote, "Learn and question beyond boundaries." Professor Wei Guo has also published several books about education. He is particularly concerned about the challenges facing contemporary education around the world.
各位朋友，大家好。今天我们很荣幸能够跟一个世界上非常有名的大学 Institut Polytechnique de Paris 校长Professor Labella 做一个交谈，希望从我们交谈中能够了解到高等教育在法国的发展，以及它在世界高等教育上所扮演的角色。这所大学在2019年才由原来的 École Polytechnique 以及其他4所大学所联合成立的一个大学。基本上它的做法是向美式大学靠近。President, we are very happy to have the opportunity to carry this conversation. The higher education in France has evolved into a little bit different phase. Traditionally, each school has been relatively small, very focused. But the institute now is making a little bit bigger, but I think it's still very focused. I'm just wondering, what does this mean in terms of higher education development in France? Can you share with some of your opinion and your wisdom with us?
Sure. And first, I'm glad to welcome you at École Polytechnique today. I'm glad to have this discussion, just to exchange. We are always also listening to other experiences to continue to improve and to broaden our higher education. But let me give you a few elements on your question, because the French education system has been going through many changes over the past decades, even if it builds on 200 years of history, as you are here at École Polytechnique, founded in 1794. The system has been going through 2 ways over the last decades. On one side, you had what we call the grandes écoles, which are small schools, very focused, very selective, driving excellence through the education, and basically to get alumni then going through all areas of society, driving businesses, administration, joining the academic group or courses. And you had universities who were doing a mix of things. Some of them were highly selective in medicine, in law, some others a bit less, but they were doing a lot of research also. So providing, continuing to grow the research and get also what we call massification in French, but the growth of number of people getting in higher education, because over the last decades, they had the task of getting hundreds of thousands of people going through higher education. Over the last 10 years, I think people noticed, mainly by opening up the eyes to the rest of the world, that the schools were small, as you were just saying, 2,000 students, 3,000 students, very focused, very selective, but small. And then universities were known for the research, but maybe not enough on a broad scale. So the idea now is to get, both excellence, groups of excellence more visible, joining great education and great research. I would say the classic, global university, but leveraging some of the French strengths. And therefore, when we look at École Polytechnique and some of the other schools that are here, we decided to join forces and to get more visibility, more scale, while keeping the excellence focus, to grow the research side, and to provide solutions to some of the most difficult problems on Earth.
Since its foundation, Institut Polytechnique de Paris actively expands and recruits outstanding students from different parts of the world. At the same time, the school is committed to cultivating startups on campus and to promoting scientific research, addressing issues such as climate change, health revolution, digitalization, society transformation, and many more.
Well, I understand the student you are taking are really the cream of crops from the both local and international community.
We have, in fact, several ways of entering École Polytechnique. One way is what we call in France the preparatory classes, which is after high school, you get 2 years of intense preparation to the entrance exam to École Polytechnique and the other engineering schools. But now we have opened up also ways for people who have gone to the university first to do a license and then to join École Polytechnique. So we have broadened basically the students, or at least the group of students that can enter Polytechnique. And obviously we have also broadened on the international side, because before we had only foreigners going through the preparatory classes in France. Now we have opened up to university students speaking English a priori. Obviously, they are going to learn a bit of French coming here, but we have a special way of getting them to pass the exam and enter École Polytechnique.
The world is really flat. You are at the forefront to promote this globalization and to exercise this. But one specific issue I heard from your colleague that you really also are promoting the startups for some of those. I understand the startup concepts from university really are more or less from the American universities, but it looks like you're doing so well. I'm wondering if you can share with us some of the experience of the startups from your students and your graduate.
Yeah, and I would say that'd be the tradition at École Polytechnique of getting, as I mentioned, through all types of roles in society, including business. But the last 20 years, I've seen many technological disruption. And a lot of our students have decided, in fact, to create a startup, to join a startup, because they are also, they want to provide solutions to some of the most difficult questions society is facing. Climate change, health revolution, all around digital and the transform of society. And they see that obviously big companies can provide some of that, but also a lot of the startups do that. So there is also the meaning behind the joining the startup. It's not only about technology, it's also about, who are going to provide solutions, who are going to make society better, which is at the core of what École Polytechnique is about. So the values are important, but also we have created, obviously here on campus, we have an incubator. We have many classes about innovation. We have many of the alumni who have succeeded, who are coming back, sharing stories, being role models, counseling also the students. We're also proud that a lot of our laboratories also are providing startups, or at least startups are emerging also from the laboratories. For example, in satellites, we have the nanosatellites. There are new ways of getting engines for these nanosatellites. We got 2 startups, one coming from the labs, one coming from the students. And right now, they have satellites in the space with their engines.
We know that the university concept came from Europe originally for years, has a long tradition such as yours. And in recent years, I find that the American system seems to be the one people look up. And there are several unique features about the American systems. The startup is one of them, but the other part is about the funding. I understand the funding in Europe usually, by and large, almost 100% funded by the government, correct? And in addition to that, in order to have startup and many other operations, we know we need some resources. And how are getting those resources from other than government?
As you mentioned, that one of the characteristics of the US universities is they have huge funding. Sometimes a ratio 1 to 2, 1 to 4 versus our universities, based on their economic model, based on their alumni, etc., etc. So our challenge, I'm sure, as yours also, is to continue to grow our resources. And I think we need to work on all dimensions. Still, government is one. Obviously, government represents two-thirds of our resources. And this government has been really keen on growing innovation. So they have had projects to be funded on startups, on innovation. There is a France 2030 plan, which has identified 10 technologies where we really want to lead and to innovate. So government is providing a bit of that, from fundamental research to innovation. The other axis is Europe also. So you could say it's government, but it's at the European level, because Europe also wants to create or provide some critical mass. And so we have also a lot of researchers, and we help them get funding on some industrial applications or some research areas from Europe. The third one is going to be companies. So this school and the schools of Institut Poligny de Paris have a lot of relationship with companies. It has been historic. Grandes écoles have been close to companies. A lot of alumni also are in these companies. So naturally, they want to, create linkages, benefit from the research, help the research develop, and so on. And the last one is, I would say, purely philanthropy from alumni, from people who want to help us basically develop. I would say this is.
I find one thing unique about Ecole Poly. You have a group of military cadets. Where was the tradition coming from? And tell us a little bit more. I think this is very unique about Ecole Poly.
Let me tell you about the history of Ecole Polytechnique. And it was founded in 1794. 1794 is 5 years after the revolution. And at that time, there has been a few wars, European wars, and France is in not a good situation. It's stopped, there is no more economic development. And the government at that time asked two professors, two scientific leaders, Gaspard Monge and Fourcroy, to create a school that is going to select the best 300 minds across France, not only in Paris, across France, to get them exposed to the best scientific heads and minds, and to get them to rebuild the country. So the purpose of Ecole Polytechnique and the mission at the beginning is to, through science, get the best young people to rebuild. And so this general interest, I was talking about the values of the school, and these values have been going through the last 200 years. In 1804, Napoleon says, this should be a military school. So this is when we got our flag, when we got our motto, pour la patrie, les sciences et la gloire, which means for the nation, for the sciences, and for glory. A lot of people were going to the military also. 4 of the French marshals of the First World War are from Polytechnique, Joffre, Foch, and a few others. And over time, obviously, many were going to the economic part of the society, to the business, to the administration. We had a few presidents of the Republic. Valéry Giscard d'Estaing is an alumnus from Ecole Polytechnique. And then in the last 50 years, a lot still going to the administration, a bit less to the military, but many into businesses. So we have basically been developing leaders in all parts of society. And the military side here has a few impacts. One is about values of service, serving the nation, serving the general interest. It has also the esprit de corps, meaning people learn how to work in teams. Because in the military, you only succeed if the team succeeds.
各位朋友，我们今天非常荣幸，跟 Institut Polytechnique de Paris 校长 President Labella 交谈。我相信我们大家受益良多。这是一所大学，它有很好的 tradition， 它包括它有这个军事训练，让大家能够更有 discipline。它有很新潮的思想，他认为我们要有一个重要的眼光，在我们发展大学，不但是要着眼于今天， 而且要注重到未来，它5所大学集合之后，它也只有8000个学生，所以这就印证了我所说的小即是美。I mentioned small is beautiful. It makes this university of more relevance to the societal need. This is one of the best universities in the whole world. Once again, thank you again, President. Thank you. It's a good educational for us and for me.
In the next episode, we will visit the National University of Singapore. The National University of Singapore has not only nurtured political leaders for the country, but also made significant contributions to Singapore's economic takeoff. With outstanding achievements in teaching and research, the university has now become a world-renowned top university.